Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me for today's video, and today we're going to be discussing our 16,000 mile review of the Audi Q7. As of right now, as you can see, we have 16,054 miles on the vehicle, and this has been very solid. A little bit more than about 8 months of ownership here. And we have just been racking up the miles in the Q7. This is definitely a very comfortable place to be for those 4 to 5, 6 hour road trips. And with all the connectivity that the Q7 offers, it's just a good place to be in those road trips. Definitely, my wife, my mother-in-law, they all really enjoy this car. I would have a hard time getting rid of it because they probably would not like it. So I'm going to be holding on to the Q7 for a while. And it just offers a number of things. I'm a little bit dubious. I've definitely have seen the new A8 or the A6, the Q8 in person. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the new dual screen setup that they're offering in the newer vehicles. So I'll be more than happy to kind of hold on to this one for a while and kind of keep, actual buttons at this point to access things quickly and things of that nature. But I haven't used it in a full context, so I'll leave some judgment out there for the future. But just from as of right now, it just seems like having buttons will be a little bit better. I know some other manufacturers like Honda and Acura have, gone back and added buttons in future revisions because the all touchscreen setup was just, frustrating the customers, things of that nature. So we'll hold out an opinion until we can actually get some seat time, more seat time in those vehicles and actually use them. But as of right now, I'm happy to have this kind of layout and think this looks great. And so we would expect to see the new Q7 with that setup in 2020. One thing that definitely they added in 19, this button here that's missing on my Q7 and any other Q7 in 2018, the actual parking assist button or parking assist was added in 2019. And so that's available on prestige models, Q7s. And, not that I would use that feature. I think, to me, the heads-up display would be more valuable to have than the self-parking system. That's one thing that I sorely missed from the all-road. That was a prestige model, and that had the heads-up display. And so hopefully that will trickle down to Premium Plus models in the future, but not necessarily a deal breaker, but definitely it's super nice to have to be able to keep your eyes totally on the road and still have all your driver assistance information, speed limit information, and map information right there on the dashboard. So that's definitely one thing I definitely miss. Now, as you guys are seeing, this is kind of one issue I've been having recently. I'm not sure if there's service issues going on or if it's downloading an update. I'm not really sure. But Google Earth has been sticking at this point. When I start the vehicle and just drive around, I would almost have to revert back to the standard maps just to get mapping to appear, or use maps through Apple CarPlay, which is Really enjoy Apple CarPlay. I just kind of wish we had the touchscreen interface for that. But otherwise, I would prefer, but the using the buttons and things of that nature with the knob and whatnot seems to be okay. I apologize. The car is kind of dirty right now. I have not had an opportunity to wash this car since the road trips we've been on at this point. It's just been such a situation where here in Austin, Texas, it's been kind of raining off and on days. Right now, this actually is a very nice day, but there is a more or less 100% chance of rain tomorrow. That will rain, so I don't want to put on all that effort if it's just going to rain again. But I was also have another video queued up that I haven't published yet, and I'm still need to kind of edit out. But I did have a comparison video between the Apple CarPlay with Google Maps and this Google Earth view that you get through the Audi Connect service. So look out for that video coming soon if you had any questions about the differences between the two. And there are some minor differences, some other detailed differences, and we'll discuss that in that video. But I know some of you guys have, either have chosen not to pay for the service, which is fine, and I totally understand that. But now that you have that through Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, makes it even more compelling to go without that service. So that's something to think about at this point in time. Let's step outside of the car for a moment and talk about some of the things that at the 16,000 miles that we've experienced so far. So I know if you follow the forum at any point in time, definitely there's been a number of complaints about the brake noise. And so majority of the time in reverse, when backing up, the car would make basically kind of a squelching sound in reverse. And there's a service bulletin out right now. I've already had that applied to my car about 3,000 miles ago. That seems to have resolved it. Should have got that on video, but typically when backing out, when the car's been sitting for a while and it's cold, backing out of some situation, then you apply the brakes and then you would get that noise. And so service bulletin has been applied. I think there was just some clips and grease and some other things that were replaced there that only happened on the front of the vehicle, not in the rear. So far so good. No issues with that after that repair. Tire wear looks good so far. I'm not looking forward to getting those replacements when that time is near, but definitely looks like there's a ton of life here. Ton of tread life still left on the tires. We're definitely quite a ways away still from the wear line, but definitely a bit of life left in the tires before replacement. But unfortunately, there are just limited options to replace this with, and you're looking at about $360 a tire. So that's definitely something to consider at this point. But that's one of the trade-offs here with these run flat tires. There's really not a non-run flat tire in this particular size. I guess you could kind of size up or down, but nothing non-run flat. As of right now, I probably would go with the run flats again. But you're looking at, again, $300 a tire. So it's quite expensive. And that brings me to another point of for a moment there, I was looking at, what if I went back to an Outback or some other vehicle, but nothing else right now just appeals to me like this does. It offers a feature set of just like the 360 camera, the adaptive cruise control abilities, things of that nature. The Subaru Outback comes close, but missing a few key features of ventilated seats, the 360 camera, things like that. There's not even on the passenger side on the Outback, there's not even a height adjustment for the seat. And that's in the 2019 model still. So hopefully those things will be resolved in the 2020 model. That's where everyone's expecting that to be updated. But at least for this car, probably going to end up with this car for a while, at least another year or two, given that it just has tons of room. So when the future happens and You need to put in a car seat. Definitely there's more than enough room to put the front facing, rear facing, all of that in this car without having to move any seats, things of that nature. My mother-in-law is always real comfortable back here. It's just a good car for everybody at this point. So have a hard time getting rid of it at this rate. Again, sorry for all the dirt. Normally I would have washed the car before this video, but with the chance of rain tomorrow, not worth it. One thing I have been looking into is possibly getting a cargo cover. Not the cargo cover, the cargo tray pathing to go on the bottom here. Since this is just kind of open carpet, I've inquired about getting that cargo mat. Looks like it's about $160. Some people offer it with a few discounts, so hopefully get that on order soon. But it doesn't seem to, only would work when the seats are fully down. Doesn't have any break points in there to kind of work when the seats are up. So we'll just have to work with that when we get it. But this car has been used 90% of the time as basically a 5-seater at this point. Like, I really haven't used maybe the third row, maybe once, maybe one time. But this car really excels in the first 2 rows. I mean, just the level of comfort that you get here. This is the leg room. I mean, it's just an all-around comfortable vehicle. I've paid, or at least I've signed up for the additional the Wi-Fi service in the car, and that's come in handy a few times. I personally have T-Mobile, but there are cases when in rural East Texas, there's just no service. AT&T kind of has service at times, and there's no other way to get like an AT&T plan at that price with unlimited data on a device. So the $20 a month, I'm okay with that for now, to be able to have that kind of connectivity and be able to have my passengers be able to have the Wi-Fi as we're traveling and things of that nature. So that comes in handy. The car's also pre-wired for the rear entertainment system, and I haven't looked into that. I don't know. I mean, my understanding, those are just Android tablets and they're quite expensive, but the car is pre-wired for it. So if I ever want to get those tablets, I guess I could. Might get one just for making videos about it or whatever. That's possible for the future. One thing I do wish is that we do have the power ports here on the bottom of the car. I just wish they were just full, like regular USB ports, rather than the 12 volt. This makes it easier for your passengers, your rear passengers, to be able to power their devices just having straight USB. Definitely the 12 volts probably more versatile, but people are going to have want to plug in their USB devices. But definitely the rear of the Q7 is just a really nice place to be. Super comfortable. Just the leg room. Just look how much leg room that is. This is with the seat all the way, at least the rear seat back, and the front seat in a comfortable position for me. And just really good place to be. I'm also, like in the all-road, I'm really surprised how much heat this keeps out. Like, I really haven't had any issues with like heat from the top of this or anything like that. This really just keeps the car cool. No issues with that. So really happy with that. No noise from the sunroof or anything like that. That's been working well. No creaking or anything like that. Other than standard service at this point, this car has been really good. No complaints. I know, again, talking about the 2-liter engine, and some people are totally against 2 liters in this size of car, and I get that. But at least for me, the 2-liter has been phenomenal, really. I mean, I'd rather have the money at this point in my pocket than the additional funds that would have cost it to get the 6-cylinder. So I haven't had at any point in time where I felt like, I should have just got the V6. Haven't had any regrets about getting the 2-liter at this point. So this has been definitely a stout engine. One thing I did figure out the other day, and I was like trying to figure out like where's the battery in this car, and I like looked and like tried to figure it out, but the battery is actually under this front in the passenger area under here. That is pretty crazy. There's like a little, you can kind of see it, but there's a little cutout here. The battery is under here, which is crazy. I would have never thought about that, but that's where your battery is in the Q7. So hopefully guys, you found this helpful, informative. I hope, this is for 2018. I just like how this looks. Definitely will look much nicer if it was clean, but we'll get to that. But again, so far so good with the 2-liter engine. Definitely have been more than enough power on all these road trips and things of that nature. Haul like all the Christmas things that we put in the car to take down to the in-laws, and just scooting around town. This does really well. So definitely, if you're shopping for a Q7, I would definitely take the time to give the 2-liter a test drive. Definitely, I'm not saying it's better than the V6, but give it a test drive. You might end up liking it, and but the V6 is also a strong option as well. But yeah, for where we're at this point, 16,000 miles, and this has been really good at this point in time. So you guys take care. I hope you have a happy new year, and hopefully we'll get some new videos out here in the coming weeks. Look out for that Google Maps versus the MMI Google Mapping, Google Earth. That video is coming out pretty soon. And if you have any questions or comment, please leave them below. And we'll catch you in the next video. And Happy New Year. Peace.